Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Rick Wallace. Another morning motivational moment. This morning, I'm not going to take a whole lot of your time. I just want to, if possible, touch on a topic that I think is immensely important in the process of personal development. How many of you out there know that no matter how much the idea is projected on Facebook that nobody has a perfect life. Nobody goes through this life unscathed. Nobody has the formula that allows them to circumvent or avoid the vicissitudes of life. How many of you know that no matter how well somebody is performing in life, that they have those moments in which they struggle, difficulty, hardships, pain, delay. I mean, everything that you are experiencing, trust me, everybody, no matter how far they've moved forward in life, has experienced them. The difference before I move on to the difference in those who perform well and those who don't, let me say something. Stop measuring yourself by the perceptions of the lives presented or projected on Facebook. People have asked me, do you have difficult moments? Do you have struggles? Because very rarely do I hear you talk about them. Well, number one is I try to be as transparent as I possibly can, but I'm not a person that whines and complains about what I go through. I'll talk about it. I'll share it if I think that it's a moment that may be able to encourage or inspire someone. I'll share with a certain level of detail something that I may be going through as far as a challenge is concerned. But I don't sit around and talk about, man, this happened, that happened. I shared when I went through my last most intense challenge, which is the physical situation I had with the medical emergency, which is something I'm still recovering from. But you very rarely are going to hear me just going, oh man, and it's just been hard, oh man. And I mean, this has been a challenge. And me sitting back and not talking about it is not me pretending that I'm not going through it. It's just my mindset doesn't focus on the negative. I've trained myself to talk very little about those negatives. I focus on how I'm going to overcome the negative. I focus on what am I going to do about it? How am I going to respond to it? What's my next step? What does it take for me to win this fight, this battle, this time? That's where my focus is. But never ever think that I'm just sitting over here and everything's grand, or I'm sitting over here pretending that everything's grand. It's just that I've trained myself on what things to give my attention to. And so when I start giving my attention too much to the pain starts to have the power. And I had to battle that. I had to deal with that. I had to say, wait a minute, I'm talking a lot about the pain. And the pain is intensifying instead of getting better. I was giving pain the power by talking about it all the time. So I don't talk about it much. Baby, I'll ask me, how you feeling? I'm doing okay. And she'll look at me and she'll know I'm having a moment. And she'll ask me, is it anything I can do? If it's something she can do, I'll let her know. But primarily, hey, I'm working through it. I'll be fine. And, that's where it is. But let me explain something to you. Don't gauge yourself. Stop measuring yourself by the lives that are projected on social media, not just Facebook, not just Twitter, but all of these different places where people get to be what they're not. And my thing is, let me explain something to you. I'm not a person that actually has a problem with someone living in a place that they have not yet achieved, if they're working toward it, because that's something I teach. I live in my future destiny. I live in what I'm becoming or what I'm rebuilding. I'm in a rebuilding process. A lot of things that I once had, I don't have, and I'm rebuilding, I'm restructuring, I'm starting a new life in a marriage, all these different things that are huge, I'm building. And, and it's all different type of challenges. One thing I can tell you, if you're a parent and you have young children, parenting doesn't stop when your children become adults. To me, it becomes more challenging. To me, parenting my adult children is far more difficult than it was parenting younger children. Younger children, you got them in front of you and you're like, man, I wish they'd be still. Older children are out there making decisions on their own, not always the best decisions. They get upset with you when things don't go their way, and you're trying to deal with them at a distance now, and all of these things that you deal with. And so, yeah, parenting is difficult, but the thing is, I live for it. I'm pushing for it. But what I want you to get, and what I want you to understand, is that what you're seeing on Facebook is not real. I don't have a problem with you living in the future. I don't have a problem if you're trying to build wealth, talking as if you're wealthy, and telling someone what you've learned about building wealth and all of those things. I believe in that. I believe that, I think it was Norman Vincent Peale that says that if you treat a man as you see him now, he's most likely to become worse. But if you treat him as if you treat him as if he was what he has the capacity to be, he will become what he should be. In other words, we have to start looking at things and behaving in a manner in which our potential dictates. In other words, I'm not the person who is where I'm at right now. That's not who I am. That's not what I am. That's a circumstance. That's a situation. That's a temporal engagement, a temporal point, a stop in the path, in the journey of where I'm going. I've told you before, I'm a person who has learned how to operate and function in the now while living in the future tense. In other words, I literally reside. People looking at me, why are you happy? Why are you smiling? Why all this stuff going on, man? You're fighting to get back and you're right here, and I'm looking at you, and man, I'm living beyond where I used to be. When I thought I had it all, I'm living beyond that. In my mind, in my spirit, and everything that really truly is the core of who I am, I'm already there. I'm experiencing it every day. And so when I engage a struggle, I'm fighting from a position of what I'm fighting for. I know it. I see it. I feel it. I can touch it. So, I don't have a problem with people literally trying to visualize where they're going to be and what they're going to become. But there's a lot of people out there are not fighting for it, are not working for it, are not pushing for it. And they've got these projections of who they are. And you are measuring yourself against those unrealistic projections. You can be anything you want to be, but trust me, there's a price for it. The problem is very few people are willing to pay the price. And when we talk about, like the title, The Science of Sacrifice, there's a thing when you sit down and you write on a sheet of paper what your goals are financially, what your goals are personally, what your goals are for your marriage, what your goals are for parenting, what your goals are for business. When you write all of that down, it's possible. If you can conceive it in your mind, if it's an idea, it's already possible. Matter of fact, the fact that you can conceive it is God's proof to you that it's possible. But check this out. It being possible and it being probable and then it being inevitable are three different things. Possibility means it can happen. Probability means it's likely to happen. Inevitable means it's absolutely going to happen and it's coming. Now, what you do and what you're willing to do about your potential, which is your capacity, the possibility, will determine how far you get in actually achieving those goals. See, most people don't want to pay the price. See, there's a science to sacrifice. It's not just saying I'm going to give up something. When you give up something, you can literally measure what you're giving up and quantify what you're going to receive by giving that up. And then you got to give up some time. You got to give up some of the time to the TV. You got to give up some of the time with hanging out with the boys. You got to give up some of the time of sitting around doing things that don't have any intrinsic value that add to you. You're going to have to make some sacrifices, some things that right now you consider to be fun. You're going to have to make those sacrifices, and you're going to have an ability to quantify what those sacrifices will produce for you so that you can hang on to that, so that you can visualize it. But when you measure yourself, stop measuring yourself against another man or another woman and your perception of what their reality is. Even if you know the person and you know the truth about their reality, and to you it just seems like they've got it all going, that's their life. That's not yours. You don't know what they fought through, how hard they fought to get to where they're at right now. And so stop measuring yourself against them. Measure yourself against your potential. Measure yourself against you. Measure yourself against what you know you should be doing right now, where you should be, not where you're at. Not where your friends are at, but what your potential dictates of you. And then you start fighting to get there. You're creating your reality with your thoughts, with your perception of yourself, with your self-image, with the level of self-confidence you possess, with the words that you speak, the stories that you tell yourself. So many of you are telling yourself stories that are counterproductive, counterintuitive, and non-conducive to reaching those things that inside you say you want. You're telling yourself that you can't because if I only had it, this is in the way, these people won't let. All of those things are stories you're telling yourself that are setting the boundaries, parameters, and limitations on your life. Remove those. There's no such thing as I can't. When you truly understand the power that your mind has to create, you will understand that I can't does not apply to you until you allow it to. Look, I love you. I love you guys. I love everything about life right now. The challenges, the heartaches, the disappointments, the victories. I love it all because it's all building me. It's all developing me. It's all taking me to a new place. And I'm at a point in my life where I can see it no matter how dark it is, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how hard the struggle. There's going to be loss. I remember losing my heart, my best friend, my father, in 1992, Thanksgiving of 1992. He transitioned. And people were telling me, in time it gets better. I still wake up 24 years later in tears. 24 years later in tears. But let me tell you something. I'm able to still touch him in my spirit, and he still speaks to me with his wisdom, with his encouragement. And I remember words so vividly that he spoke 30 years ago that are still guiding me. And yes, that pain, it hits right now, 24 years later. I miss him. But I understand now because I've grown that he hasn't left me. He's simply existing in a different realm. And I can touch him anytime I want to. And I've learned how to operate and live in these different realms to be able to engage things in life that most people don't engage. When someone transitions now, I don't see it as an end. I see it as an adjustment. Will I miss them in the way that I'm used to dealing with them? Yes. But have they left me and gone forever? Absolutely not. But I've learned to deal with these disappointments and heartaches because they've all made me stronger. They've made me better. Look, I love you guys. That's it for now. As I always say, I'm going to down eat, but understand that there is a science in sacrifice and that you've got to learn how to quantify your sacrifices to be able to explain to yourself in every capacity why you're doing what you're doing and where you're going. You're not what you're going to be right now, but you've got to make some sacrifices to get there. You've got to be willing to give up some things that don't bring anything to you. And sometimes that means people. Sometimes you're going to have to cut them loose. The negativity alone is draining you. You got to be okay with that. Look, think about what I just shared with you. Share it with someone else. If you want to get and be a part of some things that are going on, I have a team called the Power Team. It's a membership group. It's a subscription, And it's a small group right now. I have visions for it as we move forward, but I'm loving the small group because I get to interact with these individuals and they get to respond to me and let me know what I'm doing and how I'm doing in dealing with them. And the feeling that I'm getting back from them giving basically they're giving me a report card on a regular basis of how I'm impacting their lives, and I'm enjoying it. And it means a lot to me. And the link to it is right here on the video. Click on it, make a decision. Come join us, man. We're having fun building our dreams, talking about our goals, growing together. I'm sharing my visions and dreams with them, and the thing is, we've gotten to a point now, even when I share my dreams, which are way out there, I mean crazy out there, they're looking at it like, I see you, I know you. And it's great. It's great. It's awesome. But anyway, man, I love all of you guys. Let's make it happen. Let's go out today and make it happen. Do everything in your power to get everything out of yourself that you can. Don't leave anything on the battlefield. Don't leave anything for tomorrow, because tomorrow will come with its own challenges. That's it for now. I'm out of here. Peace.